Okay. Okay, it's working. Man, this YouTube stuff is so much different. Okay. Unfortunate, but yalla, we got it done. Pull this to the side. Where's the chat? Okay, I got it done. Nice. I need, by the time my laptop charges, let me put the charts up over here. Here's the NASDAQ. Hello. Had some trouble setting it up. My settings for the stream weren't saved. Now they're up. Okay, cool. So, let's get down to business. Bounced exactly off of my zone. This was an early morning. Mark these down over the weekend. Massive volume coming in. Keep our 5 minute here. Let me actually put this on the, make sure our, okay.
Order cancelled.
Everything's working, cool. Turn this off. Really thin volume, high node, so we're aggressively flush in between. What's up, Danny? Good to see you. All good, man. Okay. It was initially bearish, but we saw during the London session these massive orders come in, and this was more than 1,000 contracts of NQ. I'm positioning macro bearish, but until we aggressively flush down under 2,900 or 29,000, I'm not gonna be taking any aggressive shorts where I want to hold. So for now, I'm just scalping buys and sells depending on the price action we see. We did not have a massive move pre-market, so that's something in our favor. It was very aggressive down and up, so it's kind of balanced, if you want to call it. But I was bearish, but obviously based on the current price action we're seeing, I'm leaning more towards the buy side. So until we have a shift of structure, volume, or a new picture, then I'm not interested in any aggressive sells. But I see how we can flush down, so I'm just going to keep that in mind. If we can take advantage and leverage the opening volume. Look how price rallied up, but our delta is the same as it was over here, so it makes sense to flush to value area low, if not further. We do have trapped buyers, sellers showing results, but nothing I want to capitalize off of so far. Nothing really interesting. Okay. I'm much more laid back today. I'm not as active as our last stream, but that's how Mondays are for me. I like to chill back and just get a sense of what the market is doing. Okay. This is VWAP of this local move up. Looking to see how we interact with this cluster. short the shit. If we get a nice entry, I would. But it's the first 5 minutes. I don't want to pay any slippage. You know, price wicks up, wicks down, and misses your stop loss, fills your order. Instead of risking 500, now you're minus 1,500. So, but soon, there can be a nice quick short. I just want to see how we interact with this level. Maybe bounce up and then find a short. But at this point of price, the short would be just to flush down this area. And if we extend our profile from the range low here, flush down and fill this, maybe breach value area low if we're looking to get aggressive. But for now, I'm just playing it more local. I'm looking to see how we interact with this cluster of buyers, if they defend price or let go. This is the last chance for these buyers to push price up. If they don't, it's gonna completely collapse. Let's see, a seller comes in. Initially gets rewarded, but this is our whole zone. Okay? So the buyers are trying to take control and defend this zone. This is where price can get aggressive. So something like this could be possible.
Order partially
I'll
filled.
attempt that, and if we squeeze up,
Order filled.
then I'm gonna, what's it called? I'll move my
Order partially filled.
stop in profit.
Order filled.
There's one. I just could see that the buyers were defending and absorbing the seller. I just wanted to give it an attempt with the opening volume. Okay, acceptance of price. I'm willing to try this idea a bit more than once. But I just want to see some initiative before I place the order. Yeah, they're failing. So there's a failed auction. The idea, the execution, the idea was right, but the what's it called? The buyers failed to defend. We were just betting to see if the buyers could defend price. But we're still within this cluster. I tried to take advantage of the opening volume, get an aggressive push up and go risk free as soon as we can. But we come back down here, buyers are defending this zone now. That's what I'm thinking about. I still do think it's gonna squeeze, but I just need to see some more initiative.
Order partially
One more
filled.
time. Oops, yeah. Okay.
Order filled.
That was too quick. So now, because I can see from these wicks over here that buyers have failed, I need some new information. I can't enter buys off of this information. This initial seller getting absorbed, because I can see there's a lot of passive liquidity holding price and not allowing it to squeeze. So I need some new information. I'm going to take the same idea. If not, and sellers take control, I know how I'm going to short it, because I know these sellers are in control and they're going to push price down aggressively from here. But in order for me to take this trade again, I need new information. We can't move off this information because we know the buyers are struggling to defend from this seller. Like, this can squeeze up and it wouldn't change anything for me. Why? Because I don't have that information. But if I see like a big buyer step in or a big seller get absorbed, I'll try it again, right? Because I know this is a very important price for these buyers to take control of, because if they don't, it's going to completely capitulate. I could be more conservative, but I'm just doing what I do even if I was alone. So that was the goal of all of this. Okay, 5-minute candle closer. There is less selling volume, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to stop, but it's just something to take into account. So if we get a seller absorbed here, maybe the value area low, we can take advantage of that. So let's just keep our eyes open. because I'm expecting price to push down, and if we do get a seller absorbed or buyer result, I'm willing to join that side of the party because it can be a nice quick trade, and we know where we're protecting ourselves. We just need new information. So let's just sit tight, okay? Completely breach these buyers. Let's see if they can come in and defend once again. Nothing. Basically what we're trying to do here is capitalize off of a squeeze using the opening volume. But look, every time price comes up to this seller where initially we took the idea from, price tends to wick down, so we know it can get aggressive if it moves up, but we know where the seller is defending from. I just need new information. I can't go off the same information because then we're just gonna be giving money to the market for no reason. So I want to see price come down, get a seller absorbed or a buyer aggress and get some result, and we can capitalize off of that squeeze. Okay, this is where we get aggressive to the downside. Because they failed. Now the sellers will start to aggress. And let's see, once they get aggressive, how does price respond? How do buyers respond? That's what I'm looking for. The delta starting to creep down. Our next area of interest will be here. Why? Because this is where the buyers who initially took price up initially stepped in. This is the value area high of the. It's a macro, a larger time frame zone, the 29,175. So delta isn't really going down, but price is. So if I can see a seller get absorbed over here, I'm willing to attempt to jump in. So, because we know these buyers are trapped. Look, there's a buyer trying to aggress. But I don't like how it wicked up and then came back down. So let's see if this is an opportunity for this buyer to reload. Exactly is. So we know this buyer is in control for now. Let's see if sellers who dominated these buyers start to aggress again, because we know they're going to aggress from this zone. So now this is a sell zone. But because it's the opening volume, and we're trying to capitalize off of a squeeze, I don't want to take part of that because I know this buyer's who took control of this move up. The sellers aggressed in the same zone where the buyers were trapped. I'm sure the buyers will attempt to do the exact same thing, but at an area lower. Where's that area lower? Most likely at this point of price right here. Why? Because this is the biggest volume we've seen in the day, is right here. So this is where you squeeze down and we give these buyers an opportunity to control the auction. Okay, let's see how we react here. Comes down into our area of interest, initially bounces. Now the delta is starting to fall. 5-minute candle closes, accepting of all this volume coming in. So price is accepting. Look at the seller over here. If we can get something nice, we're too aggressive. Like this.
Order partially filled.
Because I know the seller came and initially got absorbed. So if I have a stop loss, yeah, let me put it closer down here. I know this is where buyers can get aggressive. So if buyers do get aggressive here, then we can capitalize off of this full rebalance back into our zone. How am I gonna protect the risk on this position? Right here. I'm gonna protect it. Why? Because it's a decent amount of room, and this is where sellers can start reloading their positions. If they do, then we know we're gonna come back down and either chop within this range, or we're just gonna aggress down further. But I'm gonna start moving my stop loss into profit when we touch this 72, if we do, but otherwise it's just gonna remain break even, because this is where I expect buyers, these buyers here, to start reloading once price visits, but we have to see it happen first, because we want to capitalize off of the full squeeze. Let's see if we can do that. But our risk here is 0. This is just the hard take profit. Okay, so now look at this seller come in. So we do have a good stop loss. If this seller can get absorbed, we're gonna move our stop loss under this guy, but it's too early to say now. Yeah, look, it's starting to get aggressive, so I think we're gonna hit stop loss. So let me just cover a tiny bit more, just to pay for some commission plus break even.
Order partially filled.
So
order filled.
If this seller got absorbed,
order cancelled.
Great, we know where we're putting our stop loss, you know. But based on the data we saw, is that this seller aggressed, so we need new information now to enter it. Because now that the passive buyers, look at this, look at this.
Order partially filled.
Okay.
Order filled.
I'm going break even here. My position sizing was way
order
too
partially
high.
filled.
I thought I was going in 15.
Order filled.
That was not good. I would have kept my stop loss, but I noticed I was risking 1,500. That's not my normal level of risk. Let me just try to re-engage with a normal amount of risk. That was very sloppy execution from my end. I forgot to completely change this to 20. Unfortunate. I had to close it. I had to move my stop because it was too heavy of a move. I'm removing this limit now because if we come down after this seller aggresses again, it's gonna be a failed auction. But I really like this absorption of these sellers really trying to aggress this point. But let me see what we can do over here. Still too early. Like something like this. And the reason I market executed there is because it was too fast. I couldn't place a limit or a stop. And that's, with that level of absorption, I really expected price to just fly up. But I noticed my risk was way too high, 3 times the normal amount, so I had to move my stop loss to break even very aggressively, because I'm not willing to risk 3R on one trade unless it's an A+ setup, and this is not an A+ setup. Oops. Look how sellers are really trying to defend here. I think they actually try to wick price down again. Maybe we can capitalize off of that. Right at this zone, so this is an acceleration zone I'll have marked down. It's too late for me to short it. We'll attempt to short over here.
Order partially filled.
Knowing that if buyers aggress this zone,
order filled,
then we're probably going to wick up. But let me just move this a little tiny bit higher.
Order partially filled.
I was expecting these sellers to come in again and flush price down. Why? Because we could see that they were really trying to defend price from coming to this buyer. And from my idea is that if we start to test it, even the wicks of the zone again, we're going to squeeze. And this buyer will aggress. He's going to know that the passive sellers aren't there anymore. So now I just need much more information to capitalize off of either side, but I attempted both sides. It's really slow, the market now too, so it's good that our read of the auction is correct, because if I have to be conservative and just stay back, then so be it, you know. But that's what I was talking about. This could have been a squeeze trade, but the risk to reward isn't really worth it for me, just knowing the type of environment locally. So let's see what happens at this point, because the delta is staying flat based from these massive sellers, but they did get absorbed. So the fact that the delta is going down, but the price is a little bit more aggressive, right? Okay, so now these sellers at our initial take profit zone, let's see what they do. Let us extend this and see where we're at, because this is also a short idea. If we do see the right type of information, we need to see buyers get trapped or sellers start to re-engage here. So you can see that there's some level of absorption here. Let's put a limit, because I can see there's some level of absorption here. So if the sellers do aggress, I put my stop loss over this aggressive seller, because if price, he's gonna want to defend price from going against him, right? So, and we'll take it back to our acceleration zone. That's the goal with this trade. It's getting aggressive, but what I expect is for these sellers to re-engage.
Order partially filled.
Right? If not, then we squeeze all the way
Order
to the
filled.
high, and we're only looking for buys, right? And I can go break even if we test this 63 and the sellers start to show initiative and start entering aggressive market orders, because that will give confidence for the sellers to keep going, and the buyers will start taking their profits. And the way you make money is by looking for traders who are trapped, because it creates like an acceleration event. So now we know that this zone is huge for sellers. So right here, I'm going to go break even. Look at the seller start to come in. Because if this seller starts getting absorbed, what's going to happen to price? Price is going to completely move up. Because they aggress, and now they have news for the buyers. Wait, let me move this tiny tick, just in case we get top ticked. Then they have news for the buyers that, hey, the sellers came in aggressively, but they couldn't move price down. So now they squeeze even higher, right? But it's a nice attempt. It's a final attempt for the
Order
sellers.
partially
They
filled.
couldn't do it. This seller got
Order
absorbed.
filled.
So we're going to need some new
Order
information from
cancelled.
there. Because the fact that this seller got absorbed over here means it's more likely to come test this 110. So we just protect our stop loss. You can re-engage from here, something like this, like a sell stop, but price would really have to get aggressive. Okay. Seller starting to aggress again. Buyers really defending this area. It's setting up for a squeeze. We have a 5-minute candle closure soon. Yeah. Last chance for sellers to defend this area. Otherwise, we're going vertical. Okay, so now my expectation is price is going to squeeze really high. Based on the fact that, look at this 5-minute candle and look at the volume that's accepting. The price is accepting the volume. So this gives confidence to buyers to start entering. Unfortunate that we over risked here and we stopped break even. Let me, yeah, it was 30, instantly moved break even, tapped, but I think we would have hit break even no matter what. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're starting to get aggressive here. Nothing I can jump into. I need some information, new information. Let's remove this acceleration zone. We can tap into value area high, but in terms of an entry, I don't have one. I need an entry now. Okay, look at this massive buyer get absorbed. But I think they're gonna aggress again. Put a buy stop above in case we squeeze. Hard take profit.
Order partially
will be
filled.
at the value area high.
Order filled.
Because if price doesn't just instantly go up now, I know sellers are gonna win. Okay, this is an instant break even just in case they get absorbed, or I'll just lower the risk, no break even. Instead of 500, it's 130. Because this is where buyers have to get aggressive or sellers will completely dominate. Okay, now I'm break even just based on that move up. So now our goal is to see how price responds when we come back to these buyers, if we come back to these buyers who were initially trapped. Because these were the only aggressive buyers within the rally, at the top of the rally before we dumped down, that got trapped. So are they going to re-engage, or are they going to allow price to slip back down? That's basically what we're trying to capitalize off of right now. Look how price is wicking down. Another aggressive buyer comes in. They have to push price up now,
Order
otherwise
partially
you get
filled.
stopped out. Okay, but we can re-engage
Order
in the
filled.
idea. But just because
Order
this
cancelled.
buyer got completely absorbed the same way this guy did, I can tell there's passive sellers trying to hold price down. So for now, I'm just going to wait because the risk to reward isn't worth it. Because if I do enter an order, the chance it hits stop loss is so high. It's not in terms of risk to reward where like 1 to 3, 1 to 4, but it's just the fact that I am being more discretionary and I'm aware that my stop loss can get hit really easily. Because now these guys are trapped, they're screwed. Okay, let's attempt one more over here. Something like this. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's see if we can get filled. To buy stop.
Order partially filled.
And my stop loss is under
Order
these
filled.
bunch of cluster of buyers. Because if this person they're
Order
re-engaging
partially
the zone,
filled.
but now price the candle
Order
closed
filled.
with a big red body, meaning what? It means that the sellers are completely dominating this buyer here. So I have to put my stop loss under this zone. On the next one, because sellers are trying to dominate this whole zone, but the buyers are attempting to defend the price. But we can see sellers are winning this battle because this is huge. 168, 110, 115. They're trying to defend the price, but they can't. So let's see now if these sellers start to aggress again, right? But we know that this is beautiful absorption for the sellers. They're liking this. So unless we get a seller get absorbed or a buyer aggress like over here, but not in the body of the candle, in the wick of the candle, then I'm interested in re-engaging. Okay, look how a wicks under the zone comes back in. That's good for the buyers, but they just have to aggress now. Something like this, but I just need more information. But I recognize how this can squeeze aggressively. We have an hourly candle close soon. Okay. Okay. Now this is what I'm interested in. Look at the seller.
Order
Instantly
partially
enters,
filled.
gets absorbed. My stop
Order
loss will go
filled.
under the seller just in case they aggress. But because this seller got absorbed, if price starts to move up, these buyers will re-engage and price should squeeze. Wait, squeeze where? Into our previous acceleration zone, the one we marked down. Look, another seller comes in.
Order
Didn't show
partially
result in the
filled.
beginning. Price moved up,
Order filled.
right? But then they aggress and price
Order
eventually,
cancelled.
is now moving down. So now we have a huge cluster. Look, another buyer steps in here. It's a huge battle here, and I'm liking this because this is where we can capitalize off of it. Sellers are completely dominating. Completely dominating. All these buyers are trapped now. But when they take profit, it's going to be aggressive. But for now, they're completely trapped. Let's see if they can aggress. We're at value area low of this total range. Let's see if we can get some new information to enter on. Huge battle over here. Who won? Sellers. So buyers are gonna have to show some level of initiative, or sellers have to capitulate. Or sellers have to continue to be aggressive, and buyers have to capitulate for price to continue to go down. Because if sellers aggress this level, you're gonna see us collapse to the 29,000. And that's the short idea we're gonna try to trade if that happens. But for now, I'm still expecting a squeeze if buyers can aggress, because these buyers are really trapped now. And that's the side of the market that can get super aggressive. Okay, look at this buyer come in right here. Let's do something like, if we can wick above it. Okay. Not enough. So he comes in, he completely gets absorbed. The reason I wanted to take a trade there is because it's at the value area low. But we know the sellers now are completely dominating. And I wanted to put a buy stop, but I didn't engage it. Okay. Right here, if we can do something like this. This buyer shows result and price moves up and we reach above the 72. The buyers are more likely to re-engage, right? But price has to accept that. Let's see. Nah. Sellers completely dominating right now. Let's see if buyers can come in at the same price they absorb these sellers at. So even if price goes down and comes back up, I'm still interested in this position. Because the squeeze potential is very high. I still want to see us come back to these trap buyers here. Okay. Very aggressive. Nah, they're holding price super aggressively. Okay.
Order
I don't
cancelled.
like this one anymore. Because we got new information. This seller got absorbed at the same price. Okay, but look how price is ticking down as we reach this buyer over here. So we can try something like this if we squeeze. And this will be a very fast break even.
Order
Why?
partially filled.
Because this is where
Order
buyers are going to
filled.
start to re-engage, but we know sellers are in control of this market.
Order partially
Okay, so
filled.
now sellers are really
Order
trying
filled.
to defend this level, and you can see it from the range chart. It's a clear trend at this point, so you can get an idea of where they start to re-engage. And the reason I'm giving this so many attempts is because I understand the risk to reward from this level, but not up here. Now it starts to get worth it because this is the price where buyers previously defended passively. So if they do that again and can aggress once more at this zone, it's gonna completely we're gonna go completely vertical. But for now, sellers are winning the battle, but I'm expecting some sort of change soon and expecting us actually to range, but we can capitalize off of understanding that range. Why do I expect us to range? Because buyers know if sellers win control at this level, it's gonna completely capitulate. And I don't think they want that to happen. Especially with the amount of contracts that are, that are trapped at these prices. I'm still liking how price came down to this seller and started going up again. Let's see. Okay. Where these buyers are trapped. Okay, yeah.
Order cancelled.
Same idea. Let's see if the buyers can build some momentum and squeeze up.
Order partially filled.
Same idea.
Order
Protect
filled.
under this buyer. Because same idea. We reach the 72. It's going to squeeze And that's where our opportunity to go break even. But you can see sellers again, they're aware. But now I can see the speed of tape just from the candle and the volume coming in, that it's gonna get very aggressive to either side. But I'm
Order
expecting
partially
it to
filled.
actually move up. So, but I need
Order
new
filled.
information now. So this seller that came in
Order
initially,
cancelled.
not enough to defend price. Not enough at all. Sorry, this seller that got absorbed is not enough to push price up. We need some more aggression. There we go. We just saved ourselves from even more. Huge seller. This is what you need to see a total collapse down. Okay, massive contracts coming in. Last check. Okay, this is what I like to see right here. Okay.
Order partially filled.
I'm risking more
Order
than I
filled.
should at this point, 20 or 50% more. But I like this position. The same place we wicked from. This is where I want to see buyers start to get aggressive from. Because if they do, we're good to go risk-free. But for now, I'm going to protect my position at this buyer. Because if he fails, it's done. So this is now our next acceleration zone right here. Okay, here I go risk-free. Because if sellers take control again, then it's done. It's going to completely capitulate. But this is where I expect buyers to show some level of momentum and kind of, if you want to say, save these trap buyers. Because it could be the same people within the auction. So let's see if price can get very aggressive from this point. I want to check this buyer over here to see if price can completely respect it. We can extract some money from the market. But because I understand that price can get very aggressive, I'm looking to let the move kind of play out. Because if price does come back to this zone, I don't expect it to go up again. Because look at these massive sellers get absorbed. Look at the massive buyers show result. They don't want price to come back down there. So at minimum, I would say price should come back down to the 72 buyer for a reload instead of our initial entry for a reload. Right? Let's see how price responds at this point. This is where the initial trap buyers were. Because now we're setting up for a nice squeeze. Okay, seller comes in. Now I have to protect some capital. At this point, I'm just going to extract 800. Because if this seller starts to show results, then we're going to come back down even further. But if this seller gets absorbed, which is what we're initially seeing, and we see price go up, we're going to protect even more and secure even more by putting our stop loss under this seller. And that's how I'm managing my risk on this position. But let's see if buyers can continue to aggress. Okay. I'm not liking how price is sitting there. That's the only thing scaring me. I'm just going to leave it at value area though. I want to give this a chance to squeeze. Because I'm aware of what can happen. Okay, price is now squeezing. I'm going to protect at the seller at this point. Yeah, these sellers are starting to take control. I'm just going to put it slightly under this guy on the wick. Because this is where we start to squeeze. If we re-engage this area of price, look at the delta, this green line, the same buyers that got trapped are going to re-engage again. And that's where you have the huge moves up. And that's what we're anticipating at this point. I like anticipating squeezes, but I have to protect capital here because if it doesn't and the sellers take control, then we're screwed. Because this is the only point of price at this time exactly here where, where sellers can take control. So I'm just going to secure 2,500. Because I have to be a little bit more conservative just based on how many stop losses we hit. But I'm understanding that, buyers can really aggress this level. And if they do, we know exactly what to do, right? This is our final target. If we can trail it and take that stair step all the way there. I like how price is now sitting here. These sellers are nervous. So if they don't re-engage in the next 10 seconds, sellers don't re-engage in the next 10 seconds, price is going to move up. Because it's making them really nervous. So they remove their orders from the book. Okay. I'm going to secure even more. Because if buyers enter and they get absorbed here, our position is
Order
go down.
partially
Okay,
filled.
We got filled on this one, unfortunately.
Order filled.
This is where sellers are more
Order
likely
cancelled.
to re-engage. So price was wicking, but because the candle wasn't really moving, if we saw like a buyer come in like this and get absorbed, you're gonna see us come all the way back down to our entry. So I'm not willing to. I would have left this break even completely, but the fact that we were down 4,000, I think 4,500, whatever, I have to be more conservative. So now we have many more attempts we can take, knowing that the volume is now here, you know? But yeah, it was a nice trade. I would have loved to keep this break even because I'm 80% sure this is going to squeeze up to our initial acceleration zone. I just really wanted to see how price... Look at this seller here. I just really want to see how price responded once these buyers got tapped, because that's where I expect the squeeze. Now look here. This seller came in, got absorbed. Oh, that would have been nice to keep, because this is where the squeeze happens. But I can't re-engage on this because it's just it's too volatile. And same thing I said in terms of risk to reward. Like, I just know our stop loss is so much more likely to get hit, and it's not that interesting anymore. Because now if the same price, if sellers aggress here or buyers get absorbed here, you're gonna see price completely capitulate. That's how these set up. Because the buyers showed one initiative, they showed that we're willing to passively absorb these sellers a second time. But if sellers aggress again, they completely lose their steam and price completely reverses. Because look at the delta. We came back up to this level of price, but the delta is still flat. So you know sellers are saying, hey, hold up. And this was our initial sell zone, just because of the amount of volume that was coming in. Look at this 1 minute candle. Nice closure. This can be a nice short. But once again, the risk to reward in terms of getting stopped out is you see how aggressive the candles are, is really high. So I'm gonna be more conservative, because if we can find another trade like we did, how much did we capitalize for that? I think it was $3,000. Yeah, $3,000. If we can find 2 more of those, it'll be a great session. But for now, I'm just gonna wait. And at this point of price, I'm actually more interested in sells. Why? Because price failed to re-engage these trapped buyers. Aggressive buyers failed to re-engage this area. Aggressive sellers engage this area. Passive sellers engage this area. And they're currently being rewarded. But how do I enter it? From my model, I need to see some more information, because look at price wicking too hard. And you guys have seen, like, my style is entering with very tight stops, because I know where to engage with those stops, and going risk-free very quickly, because I'm aware of what the market mechanics are in this sense of in this auction. That if price were to break a certain zone relative to volume, it has a higher probability of moving. But now in this end, I'm not interested. You see that? You see that wick just now? Huge passive sellers. I know they're trying, but now I need buyers to come in, and I want to see some absorption. If we see some absorption, W pattern may squeeze up. We can set up for a squeeze, but I'm just being very objective right now and just saying, hey, our delta is not coming up, price is. Look at the wicks at this zone. Every time price comes back up here, there's passive sellers. Look at this aggressive seller coming over here. So I know if we visit this 155 seller again, they're going to re-engage and price will come back down to where we entered from. That's what should happen if we re-engage this 155 again. But that's why passive sellers are entering here, and that's why the buyers are trying to engage this point of price, because they're aware if we come down and aggress this 155 contracts of NASDAQ, it's going to completely flush down. And that's why I'm not willing to enter, because they're both trying to battle it, but one side isn't winning at this point. But I can tell from a probabilistic perspective that sellers have a higher probability of winning the battle, just by being objective, looking at the delta. Now look at the delta, starts to climb up. So there's a lot of buyers at this wick. But let's see how price responds as soon as we enter this over here. This is where it gets interesting. Okay, look at that closure. That's a good 1 minute closure. So that means price is accepting of the volume that was just now starting to come in. Right? So the probability of a squeeze goes higher, but the same objective reasoning of the passive sellers taking control of this level is still there. And you can see it now, but it's not the same as it was before, because now these aggressive sellers are trapped. So the next point we look at in price is the 168 and 110 contracts of NASDAQ. Let's mark it down like this. Because this is where a lot of passive sellers are. Why? Because this buyer got absorbed at this price. So you can tell price is starting to slow down over here. Why? Because the same passive sellers are possibly trying to protect. But nothing I can engage on. So sellers should get aggressive at this candle here. Because if they don't, their price is going to continue to squeeze. I think sellers still win the battle. They're just choosing a new level to claim. Okay. Now, the same idea still stands from this sense, where if we engage this 155 again, let me check our IVB. It's still neutral if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's still neutral. Okay. Like if I had a trap buyer over here, I could have engaged on that, but I didn't have enough information. All I knew was that the probability of passive sellers protecting this level, where they previously absorbed the buyer, is higher. Is still high. But if we got a buyer absorbed here, bread and butter. You know, we take that, but I can't take that. I can only take some sort of acceleration from this 155 zone for a squeeze down. Let me delete this, remove. Let me drag our profile right here. Because now all these sellers are trapped. And if we can engage here again, then price should accelerate to the downside. Especially if we come back down to value area. But still, I need more information. Yeah, if we don't breach this 155, I expect price to actually start slowing down. Okay. I think it's gonna slow down at this point. Yeah, we didn't aggress that 155 contract, which would have accelerated price down. Now it's gonna be a balanced auction. Like we're sitting on the point of control now. Where's VWAP? We're sitting at VWAP and the POC. So where the most volume was traded and the average price relative to the volume transacted. So the fact that we didn't breach this 155, the fact that we're know for sure that there's passive sellers protecting this area, it's now just going to be a ping pong between the two sides unless something changes. I would have loved to take the short from up here. That would have capitalized. Let's put a limit. Would have been like this on the upper side of the wick. Take it back down to the POC. Yeah, would have been a nice trade.
Order
Okay.
cancelled.
Look at these buyers come in, fail. I would enter this, but the only reason I'm not interested is because we're at the POC and we're at the VWAP. What does that mean? It means price is it's gonna act like a magnet for price. If it goes down, it will come back up. If it goes up, it will come back down to it. So unless we have some information that these buyers are fully going to capitulate, we aggress the 155 contracts of NASDAQ, which initially got absorbed and are trapped, okay? And then we can use any new incoming information, let me delete this zone, to accelerate to the downside, especially that we're going to be leaving an area of value and we're going to be breaking the range low, which is where all of these these sellers got trapped and absorbed, which gave us these two impulse moves up. So then the story that would tell is that the sellers used these impulse moves up as a opportunity to enter at discount prices. And then they enter at premium once we aggress the level again and they move price down. So look, 182 seller, what happens to price? It initially goes up. I think he's gonna win the battle. They're setting up for something. So when price goes sideways and you see massive orders start entering like this, 125, 150, 106, they're using it as an opportunity for buyers to exit their positions and then move price in their favor. Only thing is very close to the POC. It would have to be a very small position then. That's the only way. You either make a small position or you don't take it, but that's not the way I operate, to be honest. It's either you take it or you don't. Okay. I haven't entered this order yet. I'm just observing for now. Okay. We breached 155. Let's see if we can wick up and buyers get absorbed or sellers reload this level. I'm just going to mark this down as a tiny area of interest. Because I don't want to be trading chop at all. I don't want to be expecting price to accelerate to the downside and in reality it's just going to go left and right for the next 30 minutes, you know? So I'm trying to identify if that's the probable move. Is it to chop or to would be directional. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, big battle here, but I can see a squeeze setting up. The only issue is it's close to POC. Nothing yet. Because there's massive trapped buyers at that point of price. Let me see. Here we're at value area. Not yet. Okay. Now we aggress the 177 level again. Reason I like buys is because I'm expecting chop. I'm not expecting aggression. We just need new information. Delta's flat. Another reason to expect some chop, but I didn't have any information to enter. I'm really trying to stay laser focused because I know it can pop up at any time and I'm gonna have to be very quick. I want to see if we can test our previous buy zone or the value area low of this whole range, and get some new information relative to order flow. I think we see this now. Okay. We tap into value area low. We've left balance. So the question is, do we come back into balance or do we aggress to the downside? Okay. This is good, but we just need information. Nothing yet. Sellers completely winning this battle. I'm actually glad I didn't enter this sell because the amount of times it wicked to where I was gonna enter from would have meant I would have had to enter maybe 3-4 times, and I would have been stopped out 3-4 times, and it wouldn't have been worth it at all. Why? Because we were already in drawdown for the day. So I really have to be conservative with the entries. The cut price comes down, but the delta is staying flat. But I need aggression. I can't just enter off of passive information. But I know we came back into our area of value. We tapped into our value area low. We aggressed it. Now we're coming back into it. I just need to see some orders. Look at all these red candles. That's 10 red candles in a row. So sellers are completely dominating this level. If we continue at this pace, you're going to see a flush out. And we'll have to take a buy at our 29,000 zone. Or we follow price with a short there. But I just don't think price is going to be that violent anymore. I think we stay in balance. That's why I'm looking for a buy. We come back into balance, but I need info. I'll say this 100 times. Okay. Man, I hate this profile. How the line covers the candle, man. Okay. Okay, interesting. I can see a attempt, but no new information. Sometimes it's good to have no new information. Let me turn on our opening range and see if buyers defend the opening range. That's your first candle that was green, closed. But it's a really tough attempt for them to defend. If we get some new information, I can look for a buy because I expect them to defend the range low. And I will attempt to join them in that defense with my massive 2 contracts of NQ. Look how delta is just flat, so this really was an impulse move. Okay. Did I just move this line? No, I didn't. Okay, sellers aggressing now. They're showing results. I can't take any buys. Unless now we come really deep into the range. But I can't take any buys now. Let's see. Because look at this 1 minute candle closed. With this seller. And we broke the opening range. And all these absorbed sellers initially are now showing result. Even more aggressive. Buyers are now trying to step in. Okay. Seller absorbed, buyers trying to step in, defend price. I think they fail. I think the buyers fail. So what I can do is yeah. I just don't want to get slipped, that's my issue. Very aggressive. I'm not sure how to enter this without getting slipped. Yeah. I'm not interested anymore. Unless we have some new information. Now we're in our zone. We put our 5-minute chart like this so we can see what's going on. Massive volume. Sellers dominating. Okay. Okay. It's very aggressive. Okay. I like this absorbed seller, but it's too aggressive for me to enter anything. I need to give it some time. And the reason, once again, the reason for I'm looking for buys here actually is because I'm not expecting a continuation of this aggression until later in the week. So I'm looking for some trapped sellers, take a mean reversion play. but I just need some more information. It was too aggressive for me to even enter short. I wanted to enter a stop loss over this buyer, but no, it's too aggressive. Okay. This is a sit on your hands type of environment for me. Because when the opportunity does come, it's gonna be huge, right? Okay. Oh. Give it some time. I can't take a buy unless I see a 5-minute closure. I want to see acceptance of price completely dominating all this volume, and we can take the next candle up, because this 1-minute candle is beautiful, but still this is the final zone for sellers to aggress, because this is where they initially started getting super aggressive. The 73 was actually initially, but I'm talking super aggressive is this zone. But this was not enough information for me to enter a buy on, because this seller got absorbed. Why didn't I take that one? This seller got absorbed, but this is the one that showed the result for the move up. But it's because all of these sellers were getting aggressive and price was responding. So I need price to show me that their passive buyers need to reflect the price absorbing and keeping these sellers trapped. Because then that gives me confidence that these sellers who engage are not going to re-engage again. Excuse me. Because if they do re-engage again, this is a simple, perfect reload. Right? But, yeah. I'm just sad we couldn't enter off of this. And it's good we didn't enter, because it was wicking aggressively. But we could have done that anticipating a break of the range low by just having a wider stop. Yeah. I'll have to rewatch this move later in the day or later in the week. Just analyze what I could have done better, because I think I could have done something much better. But because it's a Monday, my execution is sloppy. But that shouldn't be the case. I'll come back better. Because looking at it after the fact, I'm seeing some great trades. But sloppy execution. But it's fun. Market's always open. Okay. Let's see. 5-minute candle. Massive sellers in the candle, but the price closed green, so those sellers are absorbed. So it's sellers a chance to reload and push price down, or buyers defend and squeeze higher. I just need some information, new volume. Otherwise we compress and then we move up, because I really don't think we break this white zone. I don't think we break it and hold it. Look at the volume. The volume delta is actually at the lows, price isn't, so sellers are trying. So this can get very aggressive here. Yeah. Okay, there's a buyer coming in.
Order filled.
I want to see if we can capitalize off of a squeeze because the initially showed result. I'm going break even instantly. Because if sellers fucking, excuse my language, if sellers aggress this level again, we're 100% just gonna sweep to the downside. But I like how that moved aggressively. Let's see if they can continue. Because I don't mind being wrong in a trade like this because I'm aware of the conditions, you know. But your goal here in an environment is just to protect yourself from getting slipped and just maximize the value. Give a realistic target, just go above this high because that's where they would squeeze, and just slowly extract your money from the market. Okay, let's protect 1,000 here. Okay, look how sellers dominated this level quickly. Let me just mark it down. I'm going to put my stop loss at the last point of aggressive sellers, which was
Order
here.
partially filled.
We'll take it.
Order filled.
Because this is seller reload level.
Order
I
cancelled.
just like how this buyer came in, initially showed some result, and I like how the buyer came in with confidence in the middle of all these sellers, and we had a zero drawdown entry, which was good. Price responded, price rejected off of this 95 buyer, which is the first buyer that came in to defend price from capitulating. So if price did not breach instantly, we know we're more likely to come down. The probability of us coming down back into our entry is so high, and we don't want to be in that position, because in this environment you're taking quick 1 to 2s, quick 1 to 3s. So if I just look at the historical orders, there it's very clear. It's very clear. We entered, instantly step up. So the buyers showed initiative, right? Unfortunate that it wicked us out before continuing up, but making money is making money, right? Nothing I can complain about. So instead of being down 4,000 something, look, buyers aggress again. We're only down 600. But in a market condition like this, it's not that bad, to be honest. Okay. And I'm just unfortunate we couldn't buy the bottom here, because that's where I was expecting price to start getting defended by buyers, but it just wasn't enough information. If I saw buyer bubbles too, I would have most likely entered, but it was only seller aggression, and I can't just keep trying. Okay, let's see if this seller gets absorbed. Okay, let's see if this seller gets absorbed. Let's see if this seller gets absorbed. It's because then you just keep buying the whole dip down, and I've been there, and you just feel stupid, you know? It's like, oh, all these sellers are coming in aggressively, and I'm just buying the dip down because I can see some sense of support from buyers. But yeah. Okay, another buyer comes in. I'm not sure that was the same one. No, there's another one. Let's see. Because next target would be back to where it broke from. Because we capitulate. Sellers are aware that we're not going to leave this. Another one gets absorbed. Sellers are aware that we're not going to have a completely directional day. And we're going to come back into area of balance because there's nothing really to move the market and crash it down to this level. So the sellers take profits, right? And these small bubbles are probably sellers just coming in and taking small chunks of their moves that they entered passively from the 103 absorption. Where was it? The 110, 168 absorption, the 106, 155. So possibly just trying to maximize their gain, but then slowly taking chunks out. That's what I think these little 60 bubbles are. So if that happens, then price should create some sort of domino effect and move up. But the fact that these buyers are actually getting absorbed, there's a seller saying, hey, no, I'm willing to take that position from you, and then get aggressive, which is what I was about to say, and that exactly happens. So if we break under this area, it's actually a good short opportunity. You know, it's a good attempt. So you can do something like this, right? If a buy stop. So if price breaks here aggressively, we can give these sellers a chance to re-engage, right? And just take a quick 1 to 3, 1 to 4. And why? And why the stop loss here is because this
Order
is where the
partially filled.
Look, the seller aggresses the break.
Order filled.
So now we need to see him show result, and then we can start moving our stop loss break even right here. Because if the seller that showed result starts getting absorbed, then we know where we're going, okay? Nah, let's keep a break even. Let's keep a break even. Because this can get very aggressive. Just the fact that these sellers are showing result and showing confidence to enter within this cluster. Let's secure some just in case. I'm just gonna secure the slippage. I don't care. Because I recognize how aggressive this can get. I want to take it under this wick over here. If we do, then I can move my stop into more profit. But for now, I'm just banking commission.
Order partially filled.
Whoa.
Order
Massive,
filled.
massive slippage.
Order cancelled.
I got filled before I even saw the price. That was funny. That's because I'm trading MNQ, but I'm charting NQ. So you will have these moments sometimes. But yeah, we made $90 on that. Maybe it would have been wise to take it out. Quick 1 to 2. Nah, I liked how they were aggressing. Instantly. Break, instantly aggress. Come into the middle, instantly aggress. Both showing result, right? Delta completely collapsing, price not collapsing. If the buyers give up, the price will follow the delta, which means a break of the lows. But I have to be very conservative because the delta and the price diverting can also mean the other thing, where buyers are absorbing all the sellers coming in and then shoot price up. But it was just basically, hey, these buyers who attempted to push price up got trapped. Okay? These sellers broke our seller acceleration zone. They came in aggressively where we expected them to come in aggressively. They materialized in price. The delta is passively now, also the passive orders are supporting them. So they can squeeze price down very aggressively, but we got slipped and we got stopped out. Would we have, if it was a complete break even? No, we wouldn't. We would have still been in if this was a complete break even. But whatever, this is part of the game, right? What are we gonna do? It's better than losing. You know, I'll give you that. It's better than losing. Give me it. I'm gonna wait for this 5-minute candle to close in a minute, and we can then capitalize off on more opportunities. I'll be back. Fuck, man. Damn, sorry. Okay, so what I was saying is, once again, is what I'm gonna try to figure out, and my homework for today, because this would have been a beautiful 1 to 4.5, 1 to 5, and this was our initial target, is that should I be more aggressive and keep my stop loss where it is, knowing price can wick up and down, or should I keep doing what I just did, which is see the sellers come in, see the price materialize with the volume, knowing that if these sellers get absorbed, it's gonna wick up, right? So that's my homework for today, to figure out in this type of environment where we were in an initial range of balance, where passive sellers were using it as an opportunity to enter a discount, where they initially broke the range low where the sellers initially got absorbed, knowing price can get aggressive. Should I have actually kept the stop loss where it was above the 60, or did I do the right thing of actually moving to break even, knowing that I'm gonna give money back to the market? So that's what I'm just gonna try to figure out in this range, because what I was saying is I'm not a professional scalper. I'm a professional swing trader and stock picker. That's what I shine at, right? But I'm trying to leverage that information that I already know and put it into day-to-day scalping, because I'm building a cash machine. And what do I mean by a cash machine? Is that I personally don't like withdrawing from an investment account. Never. That's something I've never done. And I personally don't like withdrawing from a swing trading account, because it removes that every single percentage compounded. I want every single dollar compounded. I don't want to withdraw from a swing trading account, because what happens is I take the money from a swing trading account, move it into investments, and use the investments as a means to grow wealth. Use the swing trading as a means to grow cash to invest and turn into wealth. But I don't want to withdraw from that machine. So I introduce a new step, which is scalping, which is what pays for the day-to-day, right? Which is what gets you the things you want to buy, right? That's what scalping is for, to have that account to withdraw from, right? But the swing trading and the investing, those are, now the swing trading is turning into a wealth machine. I don't want to withdraw from that, right? And that's the reason I'm learning to scalp. And that's why I'm streaming it, because I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to show what I know, and I'm willing to go out there, put myself out to build a track record, right? To show that, hey, this guy is really learning how to do it. He's learning publicly. So eventually, when I finish the 3 months of streaming, people can say, okay, this is somebody I want to learn from. Because my goal is to leverage my knowledge and get another income stream from it, to then put into swing trading and into more investments. So, because it's I never liked the industry and the people involved in this industry. It's sick and dirty. Nobody cares to ask, hey, is this person actually a trader, or are they full of shit? But yeah, guys, I think we can find another opportunity, another sell possible. I see another mean reversion possible, but I'm just gonna be very conservative, because I don't want to. We recovered a nice loss. I wish that we managed this sell differently, but I still haven't had time to process that. It would have made us like $2,500, $3,000, so that would have been nice. But yeah, I like how price is now compressing. I'm still on the idea that we're not gonna be super directional for the day, but that's just my bias. If I get information that we're gonna be directional, I'm going to trade and be directional, right? So I'm just waiting for now. And thank you for telling me I was muted. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I need to get used to that. I'm speaking to myself. I'm miming. But yeah. I see how price can squeeze, and I see how price can compress and stay in this range, and I see how price can continue. That's the beauty of this market condition right here. But look at this ladder of sellers. If we leave the area of value, which is where we are right now, with this orange zone, these ladder of sellers are going to start closing, create a domino effect, and touch our range low again. We can capitalize off of that. But still nothing. Still nothing. but it's a good Monday. I'm gonna go back and watch all the trades we took again. I always do that. Sellers are still defending that initial aggression zone we took. I'm leaning more towards a squeeze. I'm not gonna lie. I think we squeeze. I don't know if we squeeze high, but I think we just squeeze and we can capitalize off of a move up and just trail our stop loss and start what's it called? Laddering. I like to call it laddering. Just taking steps, moving the stop loss, moving the stop loss, moving it. Capitalizing the most we can. We have an hourly candle close. Let me just check our hourly chart on TradingView. Yeah, that looks ugly if it closes like this. 30 minutes. Still 15 minutes looks better with the wicks. Just keeping in mind that this is our seller aggression zone and this is where buyers are more likely to step in. We're at the value area high now of this range. Let me take it from top to bottom. It's the same information. I'd rather keep it like this. Okay. Okay, that 1 minute candle is interesting because it closed red but within the aggression zone. I'm waiting for this hourly close to see if things get more interesting because from the 5 minute chart you can tell big absorption area at this zone over here. Massive absorption there, and the reason I don't have it marked down is because that's just these cluster of buyers. But also, look at this 5 minute candle. We had massive sellers dominated. Even in this, a green candle, it was neutral, if not seller dominated. But now you can see that the buyers are starting to come in. So depending on this candle closure, there might be a trade. Because if we close within this range again, and we still have these wicks, especially with an hourly close, it just shows that sellers are still willing to defend this level. And that means we're more likely to compress or continue down. But I don't think the continue down is probable. I think we're more likely to compress. Okay. Nothing I can capitalize off of right here. Because the idea would be to take a squeeze into our area, our range low of that range initially where the market was bouncing and making those impulse waves off of. If sellers are entering, why would they want to hold their trades if price isn't materializing, you know? Okay. Okay. Leaving this area of value. I want to see how we aggress these trap buyers. Let me mark it down over here now since we're getting there. Okay, let me turn the drawing tools from other chart. Just 1 minute, let's turn it off. Okay. Absorption, sellers aggress again. Sellers aggress again. They show a result. They know this is the last chance for buyers to step in. And you can only do this with volume, you know? There's no other way to do it. Okay. If we squeeze like this, I can do something like this. It's too aggressive, not anymore. I was thinking to take a buy stop on the absorption of this seller and protect it under our aggression zone, because it will get very aggressive the same way it was aggressive to the downside. But I'm very selling dominated level. And the wicks are really big. I don't want to get slipped for no reason. Let me just mark it down to see how it would materialize. It would have been like this into here. Nah, it would have been more conservative. Just a tap into the zone would have sufficed. That's how it would have been, but I just don't like how aggressive price is materializing with the volume, because even though I have a bias, I know that I have to be objective and really look at what is actually happening, you know? And it's that sellers are dominating. Okay. Phew, that's a huge candle. I'm actually liking it now just because of this massive absorption. Attempted.
Order partially filled.
Ah, yeah.
Order filled.
That's why I don't want to get slipped. I'm not gonna try this one again. No way. Because I could see if this seller didn't re-engage and we're very close to leaving the area of value, price can really squeeze up. But the reason I was hesitant on engaging on this level was because I know that, look at the wicks. They're huge wicks, which means there's a lot of slippage that can happen. Right? The risk to reward in terms of hitting your stop is very high, but I'm just gonna wait for some new information and we'll see if we can take a trade on that. Okay, that's new information. Let's see
Order
if this buyer
partially
can
filled.
progress.
Order filled.
Would be something like this. You just need the buyer to aggress here. Okay, this is where I go break even, because if sellers re-engage, we're screwed. Okay. Let's see if we can re-engage this zone. Okay, if we break above here, then I can move my stop and profit. But only if we break above. Otherwise I have to be conservative. Yeah, crazy. I see how this can squeeze, but I see how this can hit our break even too. So in this zone, in this point, the smart thing to do is just mark it out and close. But I'm gonna give it some room. Yeah, you see that absorption at this level? Massive sellers, massive.
Order partially
yeah,
filled.
Yeah, massive
Order
sellers.
filled.
It comes back to the top, bang,
Order
wicks down
cancelled.
twice. Yeah, smart thing to do would have been just to close everything, or trail, but nah. Because I have an idea of what's going on. I'm reading this auction pretty well. But I just don't want to give back money that's unnecessary to give back, you know. Because we do have an area we can engage at once again. But I just need some new information. I need price to respect this buyer again. Because that was a 1 to 2 if we took profit here. I think we were up 1,000 on that one. I wanted to take a nice squeeze. Let's see how this candle closes. Huge wicks. Okay. He's really defending this price. What? Oh, I entered way too much. That's why. Yeah, I don't have cross margin on, so it's only taking the money available from this account. Ah, yeah, whatever, I'll just turn it on later. I'll just know that that contract size was too much. Ah, I would have liked to take that, but look, again, we know this is a zone where sellers are really getting aggressive. That was like, I think it was yeah, if I had cross margin on, then I could have taken that, but I don't. Okay. Phew, you can take some just monster 1-to-1s, 1-to-2s, high win rate right here. That's crazy. But it's not my style. I aim for 1-to-3, 1-to-4. So we know exactly where price is rejecting, we know where price is accepting, and they're very tight, very close to each other. It's not like this over here where it's coming down, going up, coming down. Now it's just straight up chop. I'm gonna wait for a 5-minute closure and just see how price responds to that. Okay. Mhm. Yeah, this is crazy. This is a range chart. You might as well buy the low and sell the high, right? 5-minute closure in a couple of seconds. Let's see if we can take some sort of mean reversion or continuation depending on the information we have. Okay. Let's see if price can squeeze down, get an absorbed seller. I'd engage in that. Okay. Unfortunate. No interaction. No aggressive interaction is what I'm talking about. Aye, that's aggressive. Let's see how this 1 minute responds. Let's see if sellers reload here. Okay. I don't see sellers reloading. I don't see buyers engaging either. Nothing. Rebalance the impulse move and then we get information, possibly. Wow. If we had interaction here, that would have been a wonderful trade. But unfortunately, we didn't. Huh? Okay, interesting. This is where we were rejecting off of before. It would be like this. No, not anymore. Just want to see if this candle was going to close green above this zone, because if it did, I'd take a buy stop, knowing buyers are accepting of this price. But I can't buy it premium anymore because it's rejecting. Okay. Nothing changes. No, nothing. Interesting here. Then we have a 15 closure. It's the only thing I see in terms of possible entry. Okay. No big interaction here at all, which is why you're just seeing the price compress. Like, they could be iceberging their orders, but there's no intent to, there's no like, emotion in the market, you know, so it's just very compressed and balanced. Okay, 15-minute candle closed. Let me see how this closed. Same old candle. Let's see if we can come down and get now in larger interaction. If we do, then I'm sure we'll find a nice trade. Green candle here, but neutral delta. Yeah, no aggressive market participants. Better thing to do here is just to call it a day. But I noticed as soon as I leave around this time, the move happens an hour later. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because I have a good read on this auction. That means I leave the stream on and take a break, and that's what that means. But I think I can. I think we can make some money here, man. I think we can make some good money here, especially if you have a read on the auction. It's good. Come here. Down, 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 down. Okay. Okay, this is another possible attempt at, but we need interaction. The only thing I do like is that it's compressing on my zone. And I was telling myself, if we start aggressively flushing down the zone, then that's when I'm like, my bias was short even pre-market. Why? Just because I'm looking at the amount of institutional orders uh, that are positioned for the downside. So I know from a technical perspective, if we start showing massive amounts of orders like this and price materializes through this zone, right? Then I just have to completely aggress on the short side, increase the risk instead of 500, it's 1,000 now, and take every opportunity I see, because this is where my model shines. But we're compressing on that zone where these sellers came in. So it gives buyers a chance to completely start engaging passively with the market. So maybe it chills now and then squeezes in Asia, London, and then comes down later. Or also we just bounce in an hour, you know? But the fact that it's compressing here is giving me confidence to enter a buy, but I'm not seeing any engagement. There's neither side of the auction engaging. On the right side, my filter is set to 90, if I'm not mistaken. On the left side, it's set to 60, which means you're gonna see more here, but this is where I really analyze for the larger positioning. Okay, let me be quiet, because this is where things can get interesting. I want to see a flush down and an absorbed seller, or a buyer showing some result. If we get that, then I can enter. If not, I can't enter. Going to prepare it. Okay. This is where I expect to see interaction. If we do, I can take advantage of it. Absolutely nothing. 5-minute candle closure. Nothing. Or even bouncing off this sell node here. Next one is this, but if we're at that territory, it's gonna get scary, because that's the low before you further capitulate. But look how the price is now increasing. Expect some aggressive participants to come in soon. The speed of tape is increasing. There's more ticks, more orders. I don't need the speed of tape to tell that it is, but if I do bring it up, let's actually take a look at it. Speed of tape. Okay. Whoa, yeah, there, it's starting to increase. Whatever. Where is this now? Okay. Come on, somebody throw in a bone, and let's see if we can enter. I can't enter if there's no interaction. This is crazy. This is where I expect action. Okay. Because I can see from the 5-minute volumes that buyers are stepping in, but it's only passive. I'm not seeing any aggressive market participants. If they do, this would be a nice discounted price to scalp off of. I'm just lasered in, expecting something to happen and nothing's happened. It's like it's teasing me, you know? Ooh, interesting. Yeah. But I'll wait. Hmm. Like I can enter anticipating that participants are gonna come in, but that's not smart at this level and in this type of market condition. It's not smart at all. Because then I can't just go break even. Like I can't trade my style. I have to keep the hard stop. I can't re-engage. Why? Because there's no information. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly, 100%. And you're right to be patient in this condition, you know, because you expected a like look how many trades we took before we broke the lows and started accelerating to the downside. We took way more trades, but here, how many trades did we take? We took one short, break even. We took one buy, a loss, one buy, break even. Just three, and then up there we had one, we had two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're right to be patient because the market is not doing anything, you know, and there's nothing really to capitalize off of. So if, as soon as I see some level of interaction here, I want to look for just a buy, not home run, nothing big, but to come back to the value area high. Maybe we get lucky, and the volume comes in, we push back to our range low, which we broke, but no interaction at all, even on my low filter chart. But I'm just keeping in mind how we're at value area low. We've left value so we can squeeze back up, back into balance, but I need interaction. So that's why I just had my buy stop ready. At any chance to enter, I will. If sellers don't defend here, it's gonna squeeze. But I have no information. I'm just looking at the passive liquidity. Resting orders, orders have already been executed. Nothing aggressive. I need aggression and I can trade, even if it was a short. Ooh. It's okay, we'll come out on top. We'll come out on top, I guarantee it. I'll do my best for us to come out on top today. I'm not gonna take this for a day because I recognize what I'm waiting for, you know? I really recognize where this auction can go. 15-minute candle closure, same as the previous 15 minutes. 30-minute, nothing very balanced. Let me check our actual index, not the futures. Let's see here, your 1 hour candle closure, 2 minutes, possibly come back into balance from there. 15-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute on the index, 3-minute on the index. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Let me check the blue chips. What's the biggest mover today? Nothing major. No, nothing. No, it doesn't change anything. Okay, that's huge. That is huge.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
If we can squeeze up. Last chance for buyers to enter is this price.
Order partially filled.
Yeah. Okay, sellers won here.
Order filled. Order cancelled.
Only because it didn't get that big of a result. Okay, buyers step in. Okay. Get completely absorbed. Sellers result, that's around 400 contracts. Buyers absorbed 100 contracts. That's why it's a buy stop and not a limit or a market, because I'm expecting if these guys get absorbed, it will be very fast. Let's see, one more attempt here.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Okay, take it to the value
Order
area.
partially filled.
Yeah, no. I have to
Order
wait,
cancelled.
I have to wait. I'll get slipped too many times. I have to wait for this one. Let me see if price accepts these big orders coming in. I'm just gonna have to stay really focused for a second. Yeah, because it's really thin. These huge orders fail to move price down aggressively. Back into balance. Yeah, I have to delete this now.
Order cancelled.
I have to delete it because if price now comes down after making a move up like that, it's a failed auction. Buyers completely lose. If we step into this value area low and sellers don't engage, it's gonna squeeze back into the POC. So how do we capitalize off of this? I need to wait and see. 30, 33. Yeah. Okay. We interact with this node, we start coming down. It means there's some sort of passive seller. Because if this seller gets absorbed and this buyer shows results, even if we miss the move, quote unquote, they're not gonna get absorbed just to stay in balance. It might actually extend further, and that's what we capitalize off of. But in terms of entry, I love those trades, right? But I couldn't make it work. We entered a buy stop on the sellers, anticipating they're gonna get absorbed. We entered, how many was it? 2 attempts? Yeah, a buy stop with the sellers, anticipating they're gonna get absorbed. Stop loss under them. And a buy stop over this buyer, anticipating result and absorption of these sellers. And we got stopped down and price ended up moving. How much, let me just see how much that would have been. Just to know. 1,000, yeah.
Order cancelled.
1,600 plus or minus. Okay. Look at this 5-minute candle. Massive volume, up and down. Unfortunate, but this is the game. Back into value area low, acceptance of price into it. Let's see if we can close into it. Does that also be the 5-minute? Yeah, we close into it. Buyers should re-engage here. Yeah, price should squeeze at this point. Why? Is because sellers are not defending the value area low. So buyers should engage and price should come up, but I don't know how to enter it. It's a gamble if I enter. I don't do that. I need some data and information. Unfortunate. So yeah. Check our 15-minute candle. This 15-minute chart can rip us up. So I think we just have to be way more patient. But that was me being patient. Just, unfortunate. Maybe I should have given it another attempt. But I tried. That's the thing. I tried to give another attempt. I really did. I put that limit, but it moved up too quickly. Unfortunate. You get days like this. Ugh. I hate when that happens. This is me being emotional. This is what it looks like. It sucks. I wouldn't care, but the fact that we waited so long exactly for this, and then when it came, damn, the execution just wasn't in our favor. But we did everything we could. But the idea was right, the execution was wrong. So as long as we know we can, if we see this again in the future, we're going to make money off of it. It's just annoying for the first 5 minutes. And then I just don't care anymore. Nah, just kidding. I care, man. That pissed me off. I need a minute. I'll remember to unmute when I'm back. But like we said, if those huge sellers came in, those buyers came in and showed result, those sellers got absorbed, are we going to stay in balance or are we going to squeeze a bit higher? And is that something we can capitalize off of? That's the question I'm trying to answer now. Make sure I'm unmuted. Yeah, I'm unmuted. Unfortunate. I'm going to wait for this 15-minute candle closure. Let me check how the index itself closed. Let's see, the 1 hour, yeah, 30 minute, 15. Let me check the Dow. Dow isn't even down. It's positive for the day. S&P, it's at the lows. NASDAQ broke, S&P didn't. Russell sitting, FTSE is up. Probably had some data come out. The DAX is up. The Aussie index, oil also ripped up. Let me hold on. Something's going on. Something is going on. I need my laptop.
Order cancelled.
Okay, cool. Just check if something's going on here. No news, nothing. I was just trying to see how I could have executed better, because the idea was perfect. But I should have been more aggressive, less aggressive with the stop loss, more conservative, moved it down. But how am I supposed to know that, you know? You only know after. Now let me drag this over here. Look at the selling cluster. If sellers don't take control of this level, again, we're gonna squeeze. So let me mark this down. Property, let's go mark it down as a seller. Dominated level and a buyer acceleration zone. Let me extend it. Okay. We have this. We have this. Let me now remove. I don't need this information. Price respected, close within it. Waiting for that 15-minute candle closure. Let me put the 10-minute chart here. Okay, yeah, exactly. Would have been a nice short, but it would have been against my bias. But maybe we can move price down, find more interaction and get a discounted buy. Okay. There's some interaction here, but price closed like this. Don't like that. I would have engaged on this, but I don't like it. I don't like how aggressive this 1 minute candle is. Don't like the closure of it. The probability that we put our stop loss and just get hit is so high. So I'm gonna need some more information. Okay. Let's see that 15-minute candle. Couple of seconds. Seller reload. Yeah, exactly. It's just, this is what it means to be discretionary. Back to our 29,000 round zone. Now price is slowing down here. The 15-minute closed. Let me check our 5-minute. Nothing interesting for the upside. Yeah, it's the first candle where buyers showed initiative. Okay. Okay, I like how price slowed down. I like how the seller got rewarded, but not really. But look how price is wicking. We're gonna need some more information we can enter off of this. It's bouncing off of my round zone. But the probability I get stop is still high because price is still aggressively to the downside and then compressed here. So I need some more information. Maybe this 1 minute candle closes, we can engage. Because I'm not sure where to put my stop loss. If it's not going to be a sniper entry, yeah, then it will be like this. Like this. Yeah. So if we snap up to the high, I can get a sniper entry into our zone up here. Finals probably won't be there up here. It'll probably be here, but just in case we squeeze, let me mark down our profile. If this candle closes red, I'm gonna delete the order. But I think we get filled. Probability of stop loss is very high, but I'm willing to engage on this. Man, what is this, man? I can't even draw a profile now. Okay, because it's on value area low 2. Let's see. Possibly actually take it over here. Yeah, candle closed red.
Order cancelled.
I'm not gonna engage in here. I don't want to engage in premium if the candle closed red. We would have been filled here and our stop loss would have been right there. Let's see what would have happened. Yeah, we just saved ourselves from the stop loss. Okay. Yeah, I just almost got slipped. That was actually good. I didn't enter there.
Order partially filled.
Right.
Order filled.
50% risk. I wanted to see because it started getting very volatile. I entered 20 contracts, risking 200. If that did bounce, then great, you know. But I wanted to be involved there because I knew if we reject off of here, which is where the initial buyers came in, but on the 1 minute candle, it's a clear absorption. It's a clear engagement from sellers. Yeah, guys, I don't know. I don't think this day, but I'll give it some time. But I don't think this is the market condition I want to trade, to be honest. I'd rather just save the capital for a better day. Can attempt one more here.
Order
actually.
partially filled.
This is where the buyers
Order filled.
initially aggressed. Okay. Where was our final target? Yes.
Order partially filled.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Order
anymore,
filled.
But yeah.
Order
I can
cancelled.
only link one order, yeah, because I wasn't in. Oh, I got slipped. It didn't even. Whatever. I'll give this a few more attempts. If not, then I'm just gonna call it a day because I'm not gonna force setups, especially after that huge seller absorption. The reason I'm taking buys now is because I didn't think this seller would get absorbed. Buyer down in the range low, the show result, just for us to compress. I thought maybe we would show some more moves up, but the fact that we're not means either it's not going to happen and we move later in the session, or we bounce in Asia, London. So it's something I have to think about. Because I don't like this volatility. It's too low for me. Okay. I don't need my laptop anymore. I just did that to check the news. And London closes now, and that's probably a catalyst for us to get some new volume. But I liked how price accepted the value area low. I like how the seller was getting absorbed, so I gave it an attempt here, removed the order. We would have got stopped out, and then I gave it another attempt as we came higher, and another one, not risking the full amount, when we came back down to test the absorbed seller. If this was under the range of value, I would have never taken those trades. But because it was, I did. Snap back down, come back into value. I just see that the buyers are gonna squeeze this. Such a high probability. I bet they're accumulating a shit ton of orders, but that's not what the delta is showing. Right? The delta is actually skewed down, but now as soon as these sellers capitulate and delta spikes up, you're gonna see a massive squeeze, and that's what I'm trying to catch. It's not that you're trying to catch a quick move, it's just that I'm anticipating it's gonna happen. Right? and everything is lining up for it to happen. Okay, let's see this 5 minute. Let me switch this 15 into a 5. But I'm not seeing that much interaction, if not any interaction at all. Okay. Sell side inefficiency. I expect this to fail, but let's see. I'm gonna two maximum 2 more trades, and down, and I'm gonna call it a day, cause I don't wanna force trades in this market condition. Even though I have a good read of the auction, I can feel myself getting tilted. I'm not gonna lie, even as a professional, it happens. I can feel myself being angry that these two, not I didn't catch the move, but I lost money, and the move was right, the expectation was right. So I'm gonna make sure that doesn't get to me by literally just stepping away and saying, hey, I'll give myself maximum 2 more trades. If it doesn't pay off, it doesn't pay off. It kind of gives you a reason to only take the higher quality ones, but whatever, guys, whatever. This previous 5 minute candle was seller dominated, if not neutral, closed green. The buyers are cooking up something. I can feel it, see it. I can see it, maybe during London close. We just need some new info. Because what would hurt my heart is if I close the stream now and we see the perfect buy execution and we're not there to take it. Because I don't, on the days that I stream, I don't trade after I close the stream. I want to keep it very transparent. Like, hey guys, this is what I did. Not I close the stream and I come back to you the next stream. Oh yeah, guys, I made it. No. That's not right. I'm not going to do that. Right? So if I know I can potentially catch a setup, I'm not going to close the stream and wait for that setup. I'm just going to sit and wait for that setup. So yeah. How deep is your love? How deep is your love? How deep is your love? How do we mean to love? 'Cause we're living in a world of hurt, breaking us down, and the ocean us. How many? Yeah, guys, this can squeeze. Man, we have. 2 days. We have like 4 hours left in the session. Do I want to sit for the whole 4 hours? No, but I'm like 80% sure this is gonna squeeze up. It's crazy. Nobody else would think this, but I'm 80% sure we're gonna come back to here, at least minimum the high of this compression. Minimum. What I'm actually expecting is us to come back closer to the wicks where the absorption happened. I'm gonna wait. Guys, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, okay? And the opportunities that come up like this one, we're gonna catch them. We're gonna make it work, okay? We're gonna do everything in our power and intellect to make it work. I would usually walk away, but in this type of environment, I can really see what's going on. I have thousands and thousands of hours of just watching candles, watching price action, and this is an environment where I expect to squeeze and other people don't, and that's when squeezes happen violently. So if it does materialize, that doesn't mean I'm just gonna enter randomly, but if the rules align, we can be very discretionary and just wait for a signal to enter and just anticipate that volume is gonna start coming in. Because if it does, oh man, we're good. Only thing that's not on my side is the delta just leaking down, you know? But the delta is leaking down, but price really isn't. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, London closes in a minute. I'm not gonna take any trades until that happens. Area value has not changed, so I can just move this back here so it doesn't mess up the order. Because one thing that's terrible about the DeepCharts platform, the only thing I really don't like, is that if I put an order next to the drawing, it starts clicking the drawing and not the order. You know, that all they have to do is just change the layering system where they put the orders above the drawing, because now it's a drawing above the orders, and I'm not sure why. So for if you're swing trading, it's no problem, but if you're scalping like I am, and you have to be very quick, you have to make sure that the drawing is not aligned on your order. Okay, 17 seconds. I think we get a massive spike down, and then we see some sort of aggressive engagement off of sellers or buyers, and possibly enter off of that, but for now I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, London closed. You see that candle's ticking more. That's kind of what we want to see. Okay, we left the area of value. Okay, so our next zone of interaction would be this. Let's see what happens. And the reason I don't mind being wrong on the buys is because this is my sell zone. If we break under here, I told you guys, I increase the risk because this is where things start to get very aggressive to the downside. Okay? Okay. Yep, no, I can't take this like that. See, that's
Order
what I mean,
cancelled.
Okay, here. Ah, whatever, it's fine, it's fine. Like this. The candle was too aggressive, so I couldn't take it. Let me see if we can engage on this. I would have been break even here. So it can't be a limit, I just have to watch now. Just have to watch. Okay. Okay, I'm liking the bounce over there. I can tell there's resting liquidity here. I'll give it, this is one of the 2 attempts I'll take. Price comes down now. still has a shot. If it went a bit higher to the value area high and then came down, I'd have to close the order. But I can still give it a shot. Like this. Okay. Okay, I like that 1 minute candle closure. The reason I removed my buy stop was price came down so much. So this would have then been a seller reload level. But I like how this seller's trapped now. Give buyers an attempt to re-engage at this zone, stop loss under this buyer.
Order partially filled.
Oh, okay, we just got filled.
Order filled.
Let's see. So now if price comes back up to this wick, I have to go break even because there was 2 instances where, or 3 instances where we wicked from here. So if price doesn't get aggressive and buyers don't reload, we're gonna hit stop loss for sure. Okay, like the fact that price isn't wicking from here Now I'm like 70% sure it's gonna just come down, hit our stop. Just because price didn't wick like it did before. And look, now the candle closed within this buyer. So now if this comes back up here, I have to go break even. Because otherwise I'll just be giving money back to the market. Still not enough, still not enough. I need to move up. Otherwise I still take the full loss. Because we do want volatility, but we have to control the loss. It's still at a full 550 risk. Last chance for buyers. Yeah, there's massive sellers at this point. That can be good for us. Let's just fill that wick. Okay. It's too premature to go break even. That's the thing. Yeah. Still haven't dropped the order yet. I'm waiting for this candle to close and see what happens. Okay, yeah. One more shot. I'm just gonna lower the risk. Yeah, I'm just gonna lower the risk until we go to the wick. If we do, 50% lower the risk. I can't go break even here. It's because it's too close. I don't want to get wicked out and then, because I don't want to re-engage in this same zone. So I'll do everything I can to keep the position alive. There is an attempt for buyers, but it's not looking good. The fact that it's just wiggling around here is not good. Right here, yeah. I want to take it up to our POC. That's where the most volume was traded. But I'm pretty sure we get stopped out. Oh. Okay, I have to go break even here. Let's see what happens. Is this it, guys? Is this where we do it? Is this where it happens? I'm not even gonna pay for a commission. I don't care if this hits stop loss. I really want this to squeeze from here because we're hitting value area low of the range now. If buyers can aggress this absorbed seller, oh, it's gonna squeeze up really high. And the reason is because I've been anticipating this a squeeze to hold it. Look at this absorption. Terrible. Terrible. I'm just gonna mark this zone down here. This is where the previous wicks were. And I'll start trailing my stop loss once we touch this buyer, 72, if we do. Okay. Yeah, this is looking shit, guys. I don't like the massive wick. I don't like the closure in where the candle wicked before. I really don't like that. But we're still breathing. We're still breathing until we're not. We need an aggressive buyer to show up, get accepted. And then that gives buyers more confidence to enter. Because I'm really expecting this squeeze. I'm not going to force it, but I'm going to do everything I can to keep us alive in the position. Because we're down like 3,000, so it's smart to be a little bit conservative. And take profits, but scared money doesn't make any money. You win some, you lose some. And this is a very high conviction setup, right? Because we're reading the auction very well. That's the only reason. I think we peaked at how much? 4 R. Like 3.5 R. Not lacking that absorption. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna hit stop loss. That's just based on my experience. I usually never take my hands off my mouse when I'm in a trade, but this one, there's literally nothing I can do. I need a big buyer to step in, show result, get accepted right now, because if not, I'm sure we're gonna hit stop loss. And I don't want to trail this one either, is because I'm aware what this move is setting up for. You know? Because now, after this compression locally, like exactly where we are now, if price breaks, we're gonna actually squeeze. I don't need to anticipate anymore. Okay, look, seller comes in, gets absorbed initially. Fuck. Nah, guys, fuck it. Guys, fuck it. Fuck it. Screw the seller. Screw that seller, man. The smart thing to do would have closed there, but no. Because he's getting rewarded. But now the buyer, I'm gonna call him. Hello. Yeah, he just entered. Squeeze him. Yeah, now. Enter another 500. How long you need? Bro, I don't have 2 minutes. I need it now. Okay. Cheers, man. I called my homies. He's gonna squeeze it. Wait, somebody's calling. Hello, Baron. Tell Dad now. Thanks. Okay. Cheers. See you, man. I just had to call homie Baron Trump. He told me a buyer's gonna aggress the zone right now. Okay. This is where the stop loss moves into profit. Why? Because if this seller re-engages, we're screwed. Okay. Okay, we secure the full loss for the day. Come on, don't take me out, bro. Just squeeze, man. I'm so stressed. Come on. Hello. Baran.
Order partially filled. Order filled. Order cancelled.
Man, I swear, we need. I'm liking this streaming shit. You know, we called Baron Trump, man. We called Baron Trump. We called everybody. I'm gonna clip this one. That was fun. But guys, guess what? We sat for I don't know how long. I think 3 hours. We took some good trades. We entertained. Do I still think this is gonna squeeze? Yes. I swear, if we weren't in a loss for the day. But how sad would it have been for me to go from minus 4,600 to minus 500 to minus 3,000 and then have a 3,000 trade in profit and all the way back to zero and just get nothing. And we know the market condition is ass. But also I know it's such a high degree of squeezing. But we had nice interaction of the seller. Okay, we saw him get absorbed. We came in for the reload. We didn't trail our stop loss and we really let it move. It didn't take us out. We had a 110 seller come in, initially get absorbed, but then show result. We called Baron Trump. We called my homie. We called everybody we could, and we made it happen. So, I don't care what you guys say, but this is a break-even day, okay? This is not a loss. It's not a $93 loss. It's break-even. We didn't do anything, alright? But yeah, I honestly, I'll pay $93 to get a clip like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys. Thank you to whoever showed up, whoever's watching this in the future. I hope you have a good laugh. I hope you learned something, cause huge learning opportunity today, but we just didn't have a chance to completely capitalize off of the move. But I'll go back and we'll learn from this. But yeah, guys, thank you for showing up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Danny. I wish you guys the best, and I'll see you on Wednesday for sure. I'll wait for the stream to catch up and I'll just close the stream. But Thank you for showing up.